since he signed the Family and Medical Leave Act into law that allows up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave.
People need to understand that as great as this was, there's still a lot of people left out.
President Biden says he's committed to pushing paid leave. In the meantime, working to expand leave for federal workers.
So today I signed a memorandum, all federal agencies urging them to let federal employees take leave during the first year of the job.
He's also ordering proposals for safe leave when federal employees need to find safety from domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking. After President Biden gives the State of the Union address next week, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders will give the Republican response. The former Trump White House press secretary, currently the youngest governor in the country and first woman to hold that office in Arkansas. The now former principal of the Virginia Elementary School where a 6-year-old student shot his teacher last month says she never knew a gun was in the building.
Breonna Foster Newton's statement was made through her attorney. As she awaits reassignment, lawyer Pamela Branch says administrators may have been aware of the weapon, but Newton was not one of them.
She was not informed that the student had a gun, potentially or actually whatsoever, when she was on that particular day.
An attorney for Abby Zwerner, the teacher that was shot, claims administrators that we're told did not either call police or remove the child. Zwerner is still recovering.
Fox's Gernal Scott, the district's superintendent, has been fired and an assistant principal reassigned as that investigation continues. On Wall Street, the Dow down 39 points at the bell, but the NASDAQ rallies. America is listening to Fox News.
My friend had his home stolen. The crime is home title theft. It's real. It's horrendous, but it's real, and it's everywhere. Now, luckily, this was just a demo, but I saw how criminals all around the world target American homeowners, and that's why I protect my home with Home Title Lock, and you need to as well. And a thief can simply forge your signature on a legal document claiming you sold your home to them. Homeowners insurance and common identity theft programs do not protect you, but Home Title Lock does. So protect yourself. Just go to their website. It's HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N. Verify your home's title is still safely in your name. Then just register your address for a free, no obligation home title report for your files. That is a $100 value, absolutely free. That's HometitleLock.com/Sean, HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N.
The judge at the Alec Murdaugh murder trial in South Carolina agrees to let the jury hear evidence about the former attorney's financial crimes, which prosecutors contend was a motive for murder.
Prosecutors put the bookkeeper for the law firm where Alec Murdaugh was once a partner on the witness stand. Jean Seckinger says she confronted Murdaugh June 7th, 2021, hours before the murders of Murdaugh's wife Maggie and son Paul, about nearly $800,000 of missing legal fees to the firm.
I told him that I had reason to believe that he had received the funds himself and that I needed proof that he had not.
She says that conversation got postponed due to Murdaugh's father becoming ill and then the murders. Later that summer, as more money was unaccounted for, they went back and found out client settlement money had previously been stolen, and the firm asked for Murdaugh's resignation. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
2 California teenagers now face charges over killings during a possible vape sale.
The San Diego County Sheriff's Department says a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old have been arrested in connection with the deaths of 2 young men last month during what officials believe was a meeting involving the illegal sale of vape products. The teens booked in a juvenile detention facility amid an investigation on 2 counts of murder. The victims, a 19 and a 20-year-old, were found with gunshot wounds in the city of San Marcos.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. California voters recently approving a ban on selling flavored cigarettes, tobacco, and vape cartridges. Canada just announcing it's extending negative COVID test requirements for air travelers from China until early April. They're citing factors including continued reports of a spike in cases in China. Recapping Wall Street, stocks go in opposite directions. The Dow finishing down 39 points. But a tech rally leads the NASDAQ up about 3%. Facebook's parent Meta jumping more than 20% on better than expected revenue. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
It's showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Pipes is writing down a lot of stuff. I'm just going to go from the gut. And joining us now, Coach Bielema, Josh Whitman joining us now.
You get to say all the cool name drops.
Do it.
Brad Underwood, our guest.
College hoops.
How do you lose to Jackson State?
Call up every single person in the media that didn't put Kofi first team All-American. And I don't know, just play like clown noises.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. has been good, but he thinks the earth is flat, so I can't pick him.
Oh, boy.
Throw it up to Kofi, and he's just going to tear the rim off.
How is he so good? All right, Hans, I'm going to mute you for a while.
Okay.
Oh, there's a timeout on the court!
So what we want to do is build a same-game parlay that will win all of us some money.
Maybe Rondale Moore could be Cooper Kupp, but he's not. Is it Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that what IG means?
I think you have to win the Big Ten title to win Big Ten Player of the Year.
Woohoo!
Wow, what a bad take.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5, The Drive with Tay and Piper. I'm Lon Tay, Derek Piper. To my left, no intern today. Kyle decided that he's too big for us. So
Load management.
Yeah, exactly. So he just decided, you know what it was? He didn't want to be put to the test with this Orange Crush stuff. That's exactly what it is, because he'd be the perfect guy to have. I mean, the one day that he misses is the day that we needed him here to chat about this. I actually just texted him about maybe getting somebody on, and he's like, I really didn't know anybody that was getting ready to go on the trip. Being a freshman, he hasn't met everyone yet, so no worries there. But I feel like we have to start with that, the elephant in the room, the Orange Crush saga of Iowa. The funny part is, a buddy of mine, George LaFay, who lives here in Philo, coaches at Bloomington Central Catholic, said that Fran McCaffrey just happened to be at their game to watch Cole Serta last night, but that he left right before the news came down on on Iowa and the Orange Crush. I don't know that I have a really hot take on this thing. I feel like if I know what I'm talking about from both angles, I hate it that Iowa did that, but I also hate it that the Crush used like the Boys and Girls Club. Obviously, like Stevie J said, can you use like the 4-H club of Cedar Rapids or something, maybe something different? Do you have a strong take on this? It came out last night. I was watching Andrew play basketball, and I'm like, I'm not even getting anywhere near this right now. I don't even want to think about it. And I really haven't put much thought into it after that.
I don't really have a strong take on it. I think that I understand the Crush being upset, especially that this decision came down 3 days before the game. So when you mail them tickets in October and then it sells out, and then why did you not kind of dig in the background earlier on and figure this thing out? So
that's funny that they dig in the background of things.
It is, and I wonder if it was just a phone call, and it's like, hey, are you the Boys and Girls Club? You're like, no, actually, we're the Orange Crush.
I mean, do you think the university – we'll have to ask Jason Hegemeyer sometime. Do they look at big groups and like confirm who they are?
I don't know. And that's then the question is Iowa digging into all of the groups that were coming to the game? Did they care now that the game was sold out, and maybe they're trying to scoop up some extra tickets if there was anybody that didn't need the full allotment or maybe wasn't as legitimate as they ultimately thought when they ordered them back in the fall? So for the Orange Crush to have the deception of not just saying, hey, we're the Orange Crush, we're going to come to your game if that's all right. They've been doing this for years. I've been on some of these. I've been on some of these incognito trips. Actually, one to Iowa City. Now, there was no problem getting tickets because it was during the Todd Licklatter era.
Boy.
There was barely anybody in the arena, and I understand why. And then another one was up to the barn, which was, it's always fun. You go in there and you wear the opposing team's colors, and then as soon as it's about to tip, you pull it off, and
I think it's cool as
there's
heck.
your Orange Crush shirt. So it's a really cool thing. The problem is the Orange Crush and the way that they defended themselves. They released a long statement last night, and then it was a national story immediately where you had national reporters defending the Orange Crush and saying Iowa doing this, especially this close to the game where Illinois couldn't, or I should say the Orange Crush couldn't get their money back from the charter bus, was a bad look. But then the Iowa side kind of gave their side of the story and said, well, when we found out it wasn't the Boys and Girls Club, then, of course, you kind of understand more from their perspective. They actually donated the tickets to the Boys and Girls Club, I believe, in Cedar Rapids. So Connor McCaffrey had a statement today or weighed in on Twitter.
Oh, boy. This ought to be interesting.
He goes, okay, fine, I'll say something. Illinois fans, admirable attempt. I love it, but we got you. It was a really good try. This is gamesmanship in a rivalry, and we took this round. More rounds to come. As for the lost money, you said before the show you were not going to be able to talk today. Now I'm stumbling upon this statement. As for the lost money, that's what you get for posing as the Boys and Girls Club. And really, I can't argue with anything he said there. He at least said, good try. I love that you tried to make this thing happen. It is gamesmanship
I think that's fair.
To not say who you really are, come into their building and try to make it a surprise. But the fact that it wouldn't have been approved if you were fully transparent with who was going over there to Carver Hawkeye.
Do you think if in October, Illinois, the Orange Crush, just would have ordered 200 tickets and said, we are the Orange Crush, would they not have been able to get the tickets? I understand.
There's a good chance no, but then that brings up the question of why are you able to turn away a customer that's going to buy tickets to the game?
Exactly.
It shouldn't matter who you are.
I mean, that would be like me calling Iowa for tickets. I mean, do I have to tell them I'm an Illini fan? Like, hey, just by the way, I'm an Illini. Oh, I can't have them. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I mean, I get it with 200 tickets, and maybe there's so much to the story I don't know. Maybe at that point was the only time you could order group tickets or something, and I just don't. But I also understand the secrecy involved with it from the Orange Crush side. So they don't want to tell Iowa that they're going to be there. They want to make it not only the fact that jab them the fact that we're there, but you didn't know we were here. I mean, that even adds to it 100%. So I totally get that. But yeah, there had to have been another something
There's
else.
Something
they could have
there
made
about
up.
why they were digging into this week.
Right.
Maybe they just were like combing through the spreadsheet and said, "Oh, billing address Champaign." Although I think that they said they were the Champaign Boys and Girls Club, so then that wouldn't have been a question mark there. But maybe they called up the actual business number,
right?
And they didn't know what they were talking about.
Could you imagine being that person? Like, can you slow down again and just explain that one more time? I don't think we ordered 200. Let me talk to my boss, and I'll call you back here in a second. No, I mean, yeah, it's interesting, and I wonder if they used Boys and Girls Club for 20 years.
Or I don't know.
I don't either. Is
that one of the things that gets passed on, like from Orange Crush president to Orange Crush president? Here's how you go about getting these tickets. These block allotments of tickets is you call up the ticket office and you say this.
That would be interesting.
And in that sense, you need an inside man at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, I was going to say. Just have a
someone to answer the phone and be like, yep.
Say, oh, yeah, that's us.
We got the tickets. We're good.
That's us. Lindy says the Brewers did it to stop Cubs fans from buying them, made it Wisconsin addresses only. That's interesting, man. I guess I'd love to be in a position where I know that my product is going to sell out to the point where I'm just going to tell people, no, you can't come. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're that arrogant, Iowa, that you're going to sell out and we don't need your 200 tickets, then good for you, I guess. But I would assume an Illinois-Iowa game draws well anyway, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Especially with both teams being upper-tier Big Ten teams in the last few years.
And wouldn't you, if you were Iowa, wouldn't you kind of have it on the radar, like, here comes Illinois, and we know every year the Orange Crush, maybe not. Maybe we're not in their heads that much. But if you said, we know the Orange Crush hits one of these arenas every year, and wouldn't it just be perfect that it's this Saturday? I mean, first of all, it's a Saturday game, no school. You got plenty of time to get over and get back. I mean, maybe their antennas were up thinking, I could see the Orange Crush doing this. Bob, can you look through all the groups and see what we got? Well, here's one of 200 from Champaign. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Anthony says the Crush did not get a special discount. I assume you know this, Anthony. I don't know. I have not heard officially on this. They got a group discount that any group could get, not some special discount for charitable organizations. So, I mean, that's the thing, too. If you used a charitable organization like the Boys and Girls Club and you got your tickets even cheaper, so I guess that's a little bit of the rub as well. So, I don't know. And why did Iowa wait months? I agree. It's weird. I don't know. Every once in a while a story comes around like this that I don't want anything to do with. I just don't want anything to do with. Like, I don't know all the facts. There's just so many things that I could say wrong, and it's like, I kind of like Connor McCaffrey's text or his tweet. Kind of like, we got you. We got you. So better luck next
Just
time.
another layer of the rivalry.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Absolutely.
And I love that Iowa's not afraid to say, hey, yeah, Illinois is our rival.
Yeah. That's
unlike
exactly
Indiana
right.
for whatever reason.
Yeah, whatever. The Hoosiers and those little pants they wear. What are they called?
The candy stripe pants.
Yeah, the candy stripe. The Candyman can. Well, that's interesting. Can we just talk about Iowa, Illinois? I feel like I have more to
background.
say. Yeah, more background on that.
Stand firm on what you want to say there.
Like I can tell you that Chris Murray's a good basketball player. Like I know that's a fact, right? How good is he compared to his brother? At this point, like in other words, I mean, obviously Keegan, is that right? Keegan Murray was ahead of Chris. But if you take Chris now compared to Keegan at his best at Iowa, is it close?
Production-wise, it's pretty close.
Okay.
I know Keegan last year was 23, close to 24 points a game, 8.5 boards, I believe, and was obviously one of the first 5 or 6 picks in the NBA draft, an easy lottery pick. Right now, Chris Murray in the Big Ten only, or just kind of on the season, I think his numbers are pretty comparable across the board. 21 points a game, around 10 rebounds a game. So he's up in that top tier as far as top scorers in the league. He can shoot it from 3, can shoot it from anywhere, and has been obviously by far and away their best player on a team that now had an 0-3 start in the league, but has really risen up there into the middle of the pack and has potential to finish top 5 and have a season where they go deep in the NCAA tournament. They're a high-scoring offense, and Chris Murray is definitely their best weapon. I was looking around on the mock draft on The Athletic, which was posted a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know what the updated take on it is, but Chris Murray was like 18th overall in the first round, so mid-first-round pick. Okay. I know that Sam Vecini wrote that don't be surprised if he continues to be a 20-10 guy the rest of the way.
I agree.
That he works his way into maybe the back end of the lottery. So long story short, it's been pretty close. And I know that it was almost like a hesitant thing this offseason when everyone's going to be like, well, Chris is going to be Keegan. Well, Keegan was really, really good. And while Chris had a really nice year for them, it was off the bench. It was a smaller, more limited role, but he stepped into those shoes, and he's been just about every bit of his twin brother.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the production, I didn't realize Iowa started 0-3 as well. That's interesting.
It did.
Iowa and Illinois both started 0-3 in the Big Ten, and now both doing well. Illinois better at this point, but of course this will not be an easy game at Iowa, as we know. Interesting that Chris Murray, it's I think in my mind it's the best miss ever at State Farm Center, right? That shot that he took last year
from the corner
that would have won the game, right? Or would that have tied it?
I believe it was a 2-point game, and it was a 3.
And he took a 3. So I'm trying to think in my head. That's why I kind of stuttered there. In my head, I'm trying to think back of the best missed shots at the Assembly Hall and now State Farm Center. Knowing our listeners, they'll come up with another one that's out there. I remember one time Jim Rowinski or something, they called him like the beach ball or something. He was this big, strong, muscular dude for Purdue, and he banked a 3 in from the top of the key, I remember. And I was like, didn't Eric Gordon bank a 3 in against Illinois?
Just in the game to overtime.
That's
and then
right.
ultimately, the Sean Pruitt missed free throws, and the Hoosiers pulled that one out.
That's a good call. But in terms of misses, I believe Chris Murray.
You could count it as a miss, although it was a block shot. Kofi blocking Luka.
Ooh, good call.
At the very end of that game in 2020.
I mean, that goes down as a miss. That's a field goal attempt. That's a good call as well. But, man, the way that Iowa, it's just everything to do with that day. I've told you I want you to write a book on that day. How Nebraska somehow overcomes all odds and beats Wisconsin, even though they're playing without their best player. The other guy fouls out, I think. And then they somehow still win that game. And then Illinois has a chance knowing that, okay, the impossible happened. Now we just have to win. And Iowa storms out to like a 20, I don't know if it was 20. They had a double-digit lead. Even at
least
half.
Like 15.
Yeah, at like halftime. And I can remember I was at Illini Inn with a bunch of buddies, and I'm like, I cannot believe that happened today with Wisconsin and Nebraska, and we're going to blow it at home with the Big Ten title on the line. I'm like, I don't know that I can handle this. Like, I was getting frustrated so bad. And then all of a sudden to storm back. Now, can you imagine once you've stormed back and you're like, okay, whew, and then all of a sudden Murray's shot goes in? I would have been like, no! So I'm glad it didn't. And thank you, Chris Murray. That's what I'll say to him. Maybe we should have him on the show. Down the road a little bit, we'll say, did you think that was going in? Did you think that shot was going in?
He also went 1 for 7 from the free throw line that game.
Oh, that's right. Boy, what else could have happened to get Illinois a Big Ten title? I mean, that is, we talk about Wisconsin and how they just drive you nuts, and Michigan getting lucky with being handed from your Chicago Bears employee now the Big Ten title. Gosh, I forgot about that. Who's the next commissioner of the Big Ten? Have they haven't announced that.
Don't know.
But it's just interesting that everything that went right that day for Illinois to win a Big Ten title. So that's pretty impressive. What else about Iowa? I know you're going to be on the road tomorrow, so we'll probably talk to you maybe from Iowa City. But what else about Iowa scares you if you're an Illini fan? That the big dude playing pretty well, right?
Filip Rebraca playing pretty well. You got a nice down-low tandem between Chris Murray and Rebraca, someone that's been pretty much a consistent double-double here over the last month, has really upped his numbers. Kyle and I were talking about it yesterday. I think last year he averaged like 6 points, 5 rebounds a game. This year it's north of 12 or 13.
Oh, wow.
He's about 13, 14 a game with about 8.5 boards per game. So someone that you definitely have to watch out for. An interesting matchup between him and Dane, and a team that just likes to play with a lot of pace, up and down. We know that. I know you say it about a lot of buildings around the Big Ten, like when you're playing in Indiana, you're playing in Michigan State. If you let them get on a run, it can really get out of hand. And they are a team that can shoot the three pretty well for the most part. Maybe not as dead-eye as they've been in the past, but Peyton Sanford erupted for 20 points in their last game against Northwestern. And
he hurt us last year, I think.
Yeah, in the game in Champaign, hit a number of threes. And he, in their comeback against Michigan, had maybe 6 threes in that game as well. So he's someone that can really shoot it. Connor McCaffrey, for whatever reason, he's actually shooting 38% from 3 this year. He always seems to knock down threes against Illinois, even though his career three-point percentage isn't all that good. We know that Patrick McCaffrey, still working back from his absence for anxiety and everything, hasn't clicked right into place. He hit 3 threes in his first game back, but then was pretty low scoring in his second effort. But Rutgers, one of the best defensive squads out there, went into Carver Hawkeye last week and gave up 93 points.
Wow.
And lost. So
I remember when you told me that score that day, we weren't yet on the radio, and I'm like, I paused and I I gave you like a double take, and I'm like, wait. Rutgers gave up 93 at Iowa, and Rutgers, was it McConnell? He was the defensive player of the year last year in the Big Ten.
Right.
And he's back, and we know what that little punk, the pest kid does. I can't think of his name. Mulcahy. So, I mean, and plus Amori or whatever his name is, I mean, he's really good on the inside defensively. So for Iowa to put up 93, I mean, Illinois obviously likes to get up and down, but they just won a game scoring 61 points against Wisconsin. Obviously, they can play whatever type of game, and I feel like that's kind of a strength that Illinois has. But do you expect, can Illinois outrun them and outscore them in Iowa, or will Illinois' defense just really have to step up? I know it sounds like a dumb question, but I mean, it's essentially, if both teams are just gunning at a high level, that's probably better for Iowa there.
I think Illinois can run with them. If it is one of those up and down, open floor type of games, that really benefits Terrence Shannon to get to the rim. We know kind of in the half court when things bog down, it can be tougher for him to get in the paint, especially with the way teams are guarding Illinois in the half court. So with Shannon, with Meyer, with Epps, I think Illinois can get in a running game with them. Of course, you don't want a bunch of transition threes, especially if they're tough looks off the move and everything like that. But I think that if it is just one of those scoring fests where let's just defense optional, let's just have a bunch of offense, I think Illinois can probably hang with them. What I would worry about, and Fran McCaffrey teams usually mix in some matchup zone. They play a decent amount of zone in the past. And when you look at Illinois' three-point shooting numbers, which we talked a bunch about coming off of the Nebraska game, because now you're dead last in the Big Ten at 29% from 3 during Big Ten play. If Iowa's playing zone and you're struggling with that, and then you're missing long misses off of threes. Maybe Iowa can run off of that. And it just in general, if Illinois isn't able to get in the paint, struggles with the zone, and then Iowa does their typical thing offensively. But of course, Illinois, a really stout defensive team, have a lot of length, can match up with Chris Murray if Coleman Hawkins is having a good game. So it's not going to be easy for Iowa to score. But I think just in general, their high-scoring nature makes it where Illinois is going to have to put up high 70s, 80 points to win.
That makes sense. Can I tell you something funny? Speaking of a zone and wanting Luke Goody back, can I tell you something funny about yesterday? So, I took the day off, as you and Kyle, and I appreciate that. I just kind of took a day. I was working on some of my brother's stuff, and then Andrew played at Hayworth at 5:30, so I'm like, I'm going to get an early start to Hayworth. Maybe there's a little place right next to the gym, right across the street. I thought maybe I'll have a cold one and just visit with some people from Hayworth, which were awesome. I did. But here Luke's on, and I'm listening to it, and I'm hearing it, and all of a sudden it gets to a point where you begin to ask the question about his health and about his doctor's visit, and I'm like probably 10 miles from Hayworth on Route 150, and all of a sudden it's like, and I'm like, no. So then it hits me. I'm like, well, Lon, you can stream this. So I'm trying to get my phone. My phone is charging, and it had fallen down onto the floorboard, or down underneath the seat, and I'm like trying to get it, and then the charger pops off of it, which means it's down in the seat now, and I'm like, oh. So I'm trying to be, obviously keep the car going in the same spot. I finally get the stream on, right? Finally get the stream on. Goody had just answered the question. So can you tell me what Luke Goody said yesterday about him coming back and being healthy and being ready to play?
He said that he feels very good, that he's optimistic, that he's on the brink of coming back. What was interesting is he said he had an X-ray on Monday and that he was waiting for the results to come this morning, that being Thursday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday. He said that yesterday, but he said this morning that he was going to get the results back. And
was that a horse that was bringing the X-ray? I mean,
we kind of talked off the air. Like, he must be holding out on us. He's gotten the results, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And he either didn't want to tell us or was instructed not to tell us. Maybe that
could be good or bad.
Yeah, it could be good or bad.
Mm-hmm. I know we've had a few listeners ask, why won't they just redshirt him? I mean, it is to the point where you do question it now. I mean, is it worth him coming back for a handful of games and then having him for the Big Ten Conference Tournament and then having him for the NCAA? I mean, if he helps you win a game, then yeah, it's worth it. But obviously that's got to be all on Luke. And I assume that Brad Underwood and that staff is like, you're making that call.
Right.
We are not forcing you to play only 5 games, basically, and then lose an entire year. That is completely up to you. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But
I think the player would usually lean towards playing.
I agree.
Even if they might regret it, a year from now or whatnot, as you get down the stretch. And I do think he's someone that, if you're trying to think about, would he really stick around Illinois for 5 years? Would he do that? I'm not trying to answer the question for him, but I wouldn't worry about him like transferring or anything like that. And maybe a redshirt senior Luke Goody would be that good of a player that you kind of get a little queasy if he only plays 5 games and the shot's not in rhythm, and then it's like, oh, what did we do? But at the same time, he is an answer to one of your biggest weaknesses right now.
Because we're last, right? Dead last in three-point shooting in the Big Ten.
Big Ten, yes.
Oh.
So if he's right, and if he gets right by postseason play even, then he can really help what is a weakness right now for this team, and it could be the difference in advancing around or not in the NCAA tournament.
And then my question would be, how hard is it to integrate someone into your system? It wasn't hard, obviously, to integrate Sky Clark out of the system. I mean, they really haven't missed a beat except for the Indiana game. I don't know that integrate is the right word to use there, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know. Illinois is playing pretty well right now. They're on a nice little roll. So if you all of a sudden it's like, okay, guys, this is Luke Goody. He's a shooter. He's going to be part of our process now. How difficult is that? And, obviously he played with some of these guys. Well, not many, though. Coleman and RJ, that's it, last year. So he'd be a brand new guy to add to that. I don't know. There's just a lot of questions.
At least he's been there with them during the summer and the fall.
That's a great point.
Played in that close scrimmage against Kansas and played pretty well.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that with the spread offense, it pretty much dictates where guys are going to go. When it's more of a freelance kind of read and react, and you really got to be thinking on the same wavelength as another guy, like when it's not maybe designed to have someone cut here or run this type of action, then that might be something that's more of an issue. The spread kind of dictates where guys are going to be.
That's a good point.
And then as long as he's solid enough defensively, and I think as far as offense goes, you just want him to take the corner 3 shots that RJ's getting and a couple other guys haven't been able to make enough. So he's probably not someone that's going to, have the ball in his hands a ton as far as creating. It's just let Terrence or Epps or Matt Meyer be the one to break a defense down, and then if
penetrate and kick,
Luke's standing in the corner, just see if he can make that shot at a higher rate. And honestly, it'd be hard not to.
I would say, yeah. I mean, he could come in and be half as good as he is, and he'd probably shoot at a better rate than what Illinois is shooting right now, unfortunately. But they're still winning games, and that's the key. All right. Brett Bielema spoke yesterday about Malik Elzy, also a couple of the new coaches, Thad Ward, Charlie Bolin. He had some interesting things about now there's like 2 signing days. I kind of forget that each year. And so you had this signing day yesterday, and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I seeing signing? I thought that was over, but there's 2 of them. I forget. Just had some good stuff to talk about NIL and such. We're going to hear from him next hour. Jonah Wilson, who is kind of our Missouri Valley expert, he's going to join us at 4:30. If you look up the Valley standings, it is crazy. There is a log. You think the Big Ten is log jammed. The Valley has, I think, 4 teams tied for first at 9-4, including SIU. They lost to Bradley last night. It was a crazy night last night. Belmont lost to Murray State. I think Drake lost to, Indiana State beat Evansville on the road. So it's all bunched up. So he's going to join me at 4:30. You're going to sneak out of here at 4:30. So he's going to join me, and we'll talk a little bit about the Valley. When we come back, you and I kind of thought about this, and I'm going to pick your brain on this. If I said to you, with the teams that have a legit shot at making the NCAA tournament in the Big Ten, so we're not going to throw out like Minnesota here. We're not going to go that far into this lesson. But if I said to you, okay, Ohio State, I want you to kind of give me an idea of what seed they may have right now. And if everything went right, how far could that team go in the NCAA tournament? And, of course, we'll finish with Illinois. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And we thought of that because you brought up Purdue and what they did last night. Who hit 9 threes?
Mason Gillis hit 9 threes for Purdue. Goodness. They blew out Penn State. We know that Edey's been dominant, but to have the 3-point shooting that they had last night, I think they hit 14 in total, and Gillis had 9 of them. It was a offensive showcase, and I told you before the show, I'm like, maybe I need to reconsider my big picture take on Purdue. Now, we'll talk more about this in the segment. It is Penn State, who doesn't have any size at the 5. They have to double Edey, so you're getting open threes.
That's a good point.
Against them, but Purdue just keeps rolling.
They do.
And showing a lot of impressive signs, not only with their scoring, but they are defending pretty well too.
We will do that next. If you want to weigh in, 217-359-2255. A 217 said Rowinski's shot capped a huge comeback. I remember being at that game and Purdue coming from way back, and then he hit this bank shot 3 from the top of the key, and you're like, are you kidding me? He was huge. You should, Google him, Google image. I don't even know if he's on there, but I can't remember what they called him. It's something Beach, but I don't know.
Jim Rowinski?
Was it Jim? What did I say?
No, you said Rowinski.
Oh,
was it Purdue?
Jim Rowinski, from Purdue. Is he like a big muscular dude?
Let's see here.
He looked like a bodybuilder when he played. And in other words, he was the last guy in the world that you would expect to hit a 3, and he banked it in, I think, almost straight on. When you bank a shot accidentally from 3 and you're like, oh, boy, I didn't mean that. But
that dude's yoked.
Yeah. But if you do it from straight on, and back then, that was, to be that yoked back then, that wasn't, not that they were not muscular at all, but, he was a big guy.
You wouldn't think he'd have the flexibility to extend the elbow and be able to get a nice release on that 3 ball.
I think he just one-handed it up there, to be honest with you, and it went in, and you're just like, you got to be kidding me. I'll never forget, it always brings this up, too, that Dad and I went to an Iowa-Illinois game at State Farm, well, it was Assembly Hall then, and B.J. Armstrong. Illinois was up I want to say 16 or something at half, and B.J. Armstrong went on an absolute terror. And Iowa came back and won that game. And we were walking out of Assembly Hall, and my dad looked at me. And I won't say every word that came out of Neil Tay's mouth because there were a few that weren't ready for the radio here. But he essentially said to me, that's the last time I'm going to a game at Assembly Hall. And he never did go again. He got so mad at Iowa coming back in that game and now he didn't go to a lot of games, first of all. He was fishing. But the fact that he took me to a game, I'm sure my mom was like, you need to take Lon to a game. He seems to like sports. And then for Iowa to make this comeback, and Neil's like, well, that's the last time I'm going to the Assembly Hall. I'll never forget that. I think we found maybe a tavern after that, and that made it a lot better. You know, it's stupid Iowa. Even my dad and that crew hated Iowa, which is awesome. All right, so we'll talk about NCAA teams next. I got to tell you about, as you celebrate the special person in your life on Valentine's Day and throughout the year, well, give them the love letter that lives on, and that would be an estate plan. Preparing an estate plan ensures your family and their financial goals are met after you're gone. We never know when the inevitable will come for us or our loved ones. And according to a survey from Caring.com, more than half of Americans, 60%, do not have an up-to-date estate plan. You need to complete that, and Busey Wealth Management can help. They have a packet that will help you outline your life, your legacy, your wishes through fill-in-the-blank style questions. And it might not seem relevant now, but having an estate plan is a key part of your financial wellness. For more advice on estate planning and other financial topics, connect with Busey on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Busey Wealth Management. They are here to guide you through estate planning process. Call 1-800-67-BUSEY to discuss your wishes and request a message to my loved ones. Busey, member, FDIC.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign-Urbana have a Saturday nice, milder day ahead across the area. A respite from another plug of Arctic air up to the north of us. It'll build southward later on this evening, and quite a difference it'll feel around here for the day tomorrow. But another quick turnaround in the other direction. That the vanguard to a more longer-lasting pattern shift around here, and it will introduce a wetter scenario the middle and late portions of next week. In the meantime, a milder afternoon either side of the 40-degree mark with a partly sunny sky. Southwest to west wind breezy, turning sharply colder tonight, 5 above by tomorrow morning. On a north wind 12 to 24. That'll be wind chills down below 0 tomorrow morning. Sunny, much colder for the day tomorrow, the high around 18, down to 14 in rising temperatures tomorrow night. For the weekend, windy up to 38 and a partly sunny Saturday, 46 on Sunday. We're dry Monday at 47 degrees. A little bit of rain back in the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday next week. High temperatures none too far off of 50 degrees. For Steve J. Broadcasting, I'm Peter Olchis, Greg Solgay.
Now, the NIL jersey lineup for your Fighting Illini. Number 55, Sky Clark. Number 15, R.J. Melendez. Number 10, Luke Goody. Number 20, Ty Rogers. Number 0, Terrence Shannon Jr. And number 33, Coleman Hawkins. Get yours at State Farm Center on game day, online or in stores. Game Day Spirit, official fan store of the Fighting Illini.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at PDRauto.com. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Hi, we're your Prairie Gardens plant experts. Let's talk about winter houseplant care.
2 things you'll want to do is water less and stop fertilizing because houseplants go dormant in the winter or really slow down. And you'll also want to hold off on doing any repotting until March or so.
It's also a good idea to move your houseplants to where they may get a bit more sun.
Just make sure to keep them away from drafts and vents when you do move them. Come to Prairie Gardens. We are here to answer all your plant questions.
Hey, could you tell me what aisle your car batteries are in?
Sure, I'll go grab one for you. Here's your battery. It might be expired, but oh well. Also, the brand isn't that great, but it should work for at least a year or two, maybe. Anyways, I went ahead and charged you for it, and here's the battery. Okay, have a great day.
What just happened?
Sometimes good things are hard to find, but they're worth the wait. Make the trip out to Interstate All Battery Center at 2504 North Mattis Avenue and get all of your battery needs taken care of by the trusted professionals. Give them a call today at 355-4855. Want to work at a golf course? Rodham's Golf Management is looking for you. Just come to the U of I Golf Course Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1 to apply and have an in-person interview. Or Iron Horse Golf Course February 8th from 4 to 7. Who wouldn't want to work at a golf course? Again, Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1, U of I Orange and Blue in Savoy. Or Wednesday, February 8th from 4 to 7 at Iron Horse Tuscola. For details, call Mike Wallner or email Mike at mwallner@uofigolf.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance. Get a quote at 217-356-2400.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
Get ready for the 7th annual Champaign County Area Restaurant Week. This 9-day celebration features our diverse and award-winning culinary scene with Filipino, Indian, Cambodian, Thai, Mexican, Caribbean, Italian, Zambian, vegetarian, vegan, soul food, farm to table, and standard American fare. You'll be able to find a restaurant, share your experience, and dine in or take out. It's Restaurant Week, January 27th through February 4th. For details, go to visitchampaigncounty.org.
Hey Illini fans, it's your girl Chineo Gumake. Catch Lante and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, this segment is brought to you by Game Day Spirit, 2 great locations, Neal and Green Street. You can also go to GameDaySpirit.com. Anything and everything that you could think or want as far as Illini apparel, jerseys,
anything,
shirts, hoodies, hats.
I need a new golf shirt. That's on my list. My plan is to lose a little weight and then get a new. I don't think that I've ever had a really nice Illinois golf shirt like polo. So I'm going to go out and get that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I see here on their website they got a really nice selection of Illini basketball shirts. They got an Everyday Guys shirt. They got another one that I've mentioned before, like a 90s retro Illinois shirt. Got even the quarter zip, which I know Lon loves, saying Fighting Illini basketball on it. So check it all out, GameDaySpirit.com.
Full length sleeve?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm still wanting that short sleeve kind of. That's the, those that's what you do when you're fat. So you'll probably never see that. But you kind of wear those, and you're trying to trick the everyday person into thinking you're not, but they're looking at you going, I know why you got that on. I mean,
I've never thought of that.
I used to do that.
Think that
I used to think that with people.
When you wear those, it's just baseball season.
Right, exactly. Okay, that's a better thought. That's a better thought to that. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, so if I talk to you, go.
Hold up. One more note on the Illini.
Yes.
Nick Hardy, currently at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am in the first round, is tied for 11th, shooting a 4-under. So I wanted to throw that in there.
That's awesome. Man, is it time to start betting golf?
I have, yes.
So I was going to say you've already begun the process. Is this the first tournament?
It's one of the first ones.
Because I know they start in Hawaii, right? Yeah, they start in Hawaii, and then they move to Pebble Beach, and then they just start kind of.
Won't be long. We'll have the Waste Management.
Andrew's going to that, or Lucas is going to that. So he told me yesterday, because it's on his birthday, February 11th, and he called me and he's like, "Hey, I got good." That was maybe 2 days ago. I got good news. I'm going to the Waste Management again, because he was there last year.
That's literally next weekend.
That's right.
February 11th.
Yeah, that's right. He's in Texas right now with all the ice and everything. I'm like, how's that going? He's like, yeah. He's not very happy. He's like, I didn't think I'd come to Texas and it'd be 31 degrees and ice on the ground. I'm like, well, that's part of the hazard of travel, I guess. So good luck to that. All right, Nick Hardy. We'll keep our eye on that as we go along. I might need to get on FanDuel here in a second and do some damage on that. No, you know what? I'm not going to do that to Nick. I'm totally not going to do that to Nick. I'm going to bet on everybody else in the field.
to guarantee his win?
Yeah, I'm just going to tell Nick, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to put $5 on the other 60 golfers, so you owe me $300, but you're going to win the tournament. So I think I think you could easily hand me or Venmo me $300, right? I think that'd be easy.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
I think so too. All right, so let's go through these Big Ten teams, looking ahead, projecting ahead to the NCAA tournament. And I want Derek Piper to tell me how far he thinks a team could go if everything worked out right and they played just an outstanding tournament and the other teams just didn't. So let's start I want to finish with Illinois, but I want to, Purdue is second to last. Does that make sense? Or I want to go up from bottom up, in other words. So what team is right in the middle of the pack that you think is an NCAA-bound team?
I think that Ohio State still could be, but with their recent slide, they've moved just outside of the field. If you want to just do teams that are projected in it right now, I have Joe Lunardi's bracketology right now pulled up. On the first 4 out, Wisconsin's on that list. On the next 4 out, Ohio State's on that list. So if you want to talk about those, we can. Otherwise, if you want to do just teams that are projected in it right now, Penn State would be the first team that we would land on.
Before we get that, between Wisconsin and Ohio State, who would you say, if you had to put $100 on one of those teams winning a game, would you put it on Ohio State? Because Wisconsin does not look good.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
And those teams play each other tonight in Columbus.
Okay.
A little bit surprisingly, Ohio State's like an 8-point favorite.
Gee-many.
The analytics still really like Ohio State. They're 27th still in KenPom, despite having lost 7 of 8.
Yeah. And they've got Sensabaugh, who is an NBA.
He's a monster.
Yeah, so that's funny. All these runs teams are going on, good and bad, like Wisconsin and Ohio State both on these horrible runs, Illinois on a great run, and, of course, Purdue just doesn't lose. All right, so Penn State, interesting. Now, this team is a team that can absolutely bury you from deep. Illinois saw that, right? They can make shots left and right all over the place. They've got a great athlete in terms of the ball handler now all of a sudden. Jalen Pickett. So is that a team? Would it surprise you to have a Penn State win a game in the NCAA tournament, and would it surprise you if they won too?
It would not surprise me. They're a tricky matchup.
Yeah.
Now, they are going to have the challenge if they face a really good big guy, like I mentioned with Edey, who's obviously the most enormous, most dominant player in college basketball, but the fact of them not being a great rebounding team, not having the size to contest inside all that well, and they can double you.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of a unique challenge with Pickett backing you down at the point guard spot. If you need to crash inside and provide help there, then he can kick it out to a lot of shooters. They can play 5 shooters on the floor when they play Miles Dredd at the 5. Well, even Mikey Henn last night playing the 5 for them was burying threes. You know, Andrew Funk can really get hot, Seth Lundy. So I think that if they were shooting the 3, we've seen teams, I mean, that's kind of the formula for those mid-major, low-major teams that kind of have the Cinderella run. Penn State could kind of do that, obviously, as a high major, making threes and make it to I wouldn't be shocked if they made some type of Sweet 16 run.
Okay. Yeah, they'd be kind of that team that
if
you're
everything, on the note of if everything goes right.
If everything went right. I totally agree with you. Okay, who would be next on Lunardi?
Next, we would have, pull this up
What
here.
did he have Penn State, just for giggles?
He had Penn State as one of the last 4 teams in.
Oh, okay.
So they would be playing as an 11 seed in a play-in game.
Got it.
Maryland is the next on the list. They are currently, I believe, a 10 seed in his projections.
Interesting.
Maryland has won 3 straight. They've made hay really at College Park. They won a big game earlier this week against Indiana. So they have some nice wins at home. Oddly enough, they still haven't won a Big Ten road game.
Really? That's interesting. Okay. So, all right. So, and what seed again were they?
A 10 seed.
10. All right. And Maryland, you just losing to them. But again, they've kind of got Illinois' number in a weird way, kind of like Penn State off and on has through the years. All right. So Maryland at 10. Who would be next?
Next would be, well, do you want to say whether or not how far they could go?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
They kind of still remind me of John Gross's first year, which we know pushed Miami to the brink. Miami was a 2 seed, almost made the Sweet 16, if not for a call there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland was in a similar circumstance, playing like that 7-10 game, win. Then they could knock off a 2 seed.
Okay.
I still really like their starting 5. Jameer Young's played great. He's been a high-scoring guard for them. We know Dante Scott, Julian Reese. They got a nice starting five. It's whether they have the depth. So I think we'll end up landing on a lot of these middle-of-the-pack and up teams.
Right.
You're probably going to say the ceiling is Sweet 16. Now, the Big Ten hasn't had very many Sweet 16 teams here of late. But, again, the premise is if everything goes right
everything
for
went right.
this particular team.
Like,
So.
I could totally see Maryland winning, like you said, the 10-7 and then losing in the second round. Like, I feel like I don't think they could get to a Sweet 16 in my mind.
Okay.
I think they're too inconsistent, and
That's
they've
fair.
shown that this year. All right, so who would be next?
As far as the seeding goes, Northwestern is a 9 seed projected as of right now.
They're not going anywhere. Right?
Best case for me would be they win a game.
Okay. And that kid cries? Or no, he cried when they lost.
He cried when they lost to
I'm
Gonzaga.
sorry. That's right. Yeah. So, okay, so one game for Northwestern. That's good enough, yeah.
I still don't know that they're, well, are they a lock to make it? Not a lock, but in all likelihood, are they going to make it?
Are they one of those teams that would need to win a game at the Big Ten tournament?
Maybe if they start to slide here, which they could. They have one tonight against Michigan at home, which is kind of one of those they need to win if they really want to be solidified in the field. They have some decent wins on their resume at Indiana, at Michigan State, Illinois at home. Those are all quality wins.
Can we get rid of the if they win a game at the Big Ten tournament or if they win a game at so-and-so tournament, can we get rid of that? I still like the tournament itself. I think that's fun, but I feel like after you've done your whole season, you should have enough to validate whether or not you're in the tournament. So it's always cracks me up that it's like, well, I think if Indiana wins a game against Minnesota, which why wouldn't they win that?
Right.
Then I think they've nailed their spot in the NCAA.
And why would that win move the needle at all?
Exactly.
It must just be avoiding the bad loss.
Okay, that's fair.
But maybe the criticism is the committee's a little bit too impressionable on that last weekend. But it does add more of a intriguing dynamic to conference championship week.
No, it does, totally. And, you're on a non-conference, or you're on a non-conference. You're on a neutral site, so that helps probably. So, yeah, you're probably right. All right, I'll shut up. I don't want to take the excitement out of the Big Ten Conference tournament.
Currently, Iowa is also a projected 9 seed.
Okay, that's perfect for them. That's perfect for them. An 8-9 seed is Iowa. That 8 or 9 seed was built for Iowa. Or
because
Iowa
they've
was
struggled
built.
here as a high seed.
They really
or low,
have.
whatever you want to call it. I've always been confused by that every year.
High seed, I say it like you. Like if you're a 1 seed, you're a high seed. But you're right, that can get confusing. Can Iowa, with a guy like Chris Murray, I could see them in the Sweet 16.
I could as well.
Yeah.
Do they defend well enough? That might be a big question, but kind of best case scenario, if Chris Murray goes off, they shoot the 3 well. Yeah, Sweet 16.
I could see it. Fran then would lose his mind at some point and get a few technicals, and they'd be knocked out.
I wonder when the last time Iowa's been to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, because it wasn't with Garza, was it?
No, they were a 2 seed and got bounced in the second round, similar to Illinois.
Right.
And then they were a 4 or 5 seed last year and got upset in the first round by Richmond.
Oh, that's right. It does seem like it's been a while for Iowa. I'm trying to think. They've had some good teams, so you would think surely Fran has led a team to the Sweet 16. I
don't know that he has.
Maybe not. Maybe Steve Alford?
I think it's been since Tom Davis in 1999.
Oh, my goodness. Dr. Tom.
Who would have been on that team?
In what year?
1999.
Was that the who was the point guard that was he was a
They had Dean Oliver.
That's him. He was a lefty point guard.
J.R. Koch, Jess Settles.
Oh my gosh, I was going to say Jess Settles. When you said that, I was jokingly going to say I bet it was when Jess Settles played because he played for 38 years.
For like the whole 90s.
Right. Okay, Dean Oliver was a great point guard. A lefty that was just like not overly athletic, but just skilled. That's interesting. When's the last time Illinois has been to a Sweet 16?
2005.
That's way too long ago.
It is.
Okay, let's keep going through. Well, actually, you know what we can do? How many teams do we have left? We got Indiana,
Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, Rutgers.
Okay, let's save those 5 for the start of the second hour. Does that make sense? We'll save those 5. And for those of you that are tuning in at like 5:50, I'm sorry. because you're not going to hear this. Actually, let's do Illinois right now. You want to?
It's fine.
Since we're going to replay this hour
That's true.
twice.
Good call.
Let's get Illinois in there. I said Elite Eight because they have enough talent, I think. If it all went right, I think Illinois could get to an Elite Eight.
I think you could make the case if it all went right. Maybe they still could get to a Final Four. But I would agree with you. Right now, I would kind of cap their ceiling at Elite Eight. I don't know that they have shown enough of the offensive side of it to be able to score well enough to get to the Final Four. Defensively, they're really good. We know that if Shannon and Meyer are going off, they're going to be tough to handle. But I still, like, freshmen are going to be some players you're going to be relying on, like Jaden Epps.
Right,
and you have you just have some guys like Sincere and Ty. Like, I'm not going to expect those guys to score at all in the tournament. So I'd say Elite Eight is probably the upside.
And Luke could make a difference in that as well if he's able to get back and play. So Tim just texted in the kid crying. He's like, I need this again. I need this again.
Great.
That's terrible if that was your son, and I'm making fun of it. All right, next hour, we'll keep going with this thing, ripping down some of the Big Ten teams. We'll hear from Brett Bielema. Also, Jonah Wilson, he's kind of our Missouri Valley Conference expert, going to join me. We're going to discuss this Missouri Valley. It's heating up, man. There's 4 teams tied at the top of the conference, so we'll see what he has to say about that. He always keeps his eye pretty hard on that conference, and we can talk some Big Ten basketball with him as well. He loves basketball, and he loves talking about it. So we'll do it all next. It is The Drive.
A tradition of excellence over 150 years in the making. At Busey Bank, we're committed to building relationships that span generations. Wherever your journey in life leads you, we are with you along the way, creating a legacy for you and your family. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Hey, Jesse with Lands Drain Cleaning, here today to talk to you about your sewer line. Do you know where it goes? Do you know what shape it's in? For the month of February, we are running a free camera inspection with the proper access for all of our customers. Give us a call today at 217-355-5512 to schedule your free camera inspection for the month of February. Lands Drain Cleaning and Underground Solutions. Why call anyone else?
Thinking of selling your home? Today's market is crazy, but one way you can be sure to stand out is by replacing your old flooring with new hardwood. And the best place to do it is Carpet Weavers in Champaign. Carpet Weavers boast the industry's best brands, including Shaw, Mohawk, Paramount, and more. When it comes to natural beauty and a rich quality, nothing beats new flooring from Carpet Weavers. And they have financing options for your budget, so you can always afford the floor you truly want. Increase the value of your home by installing new, high-quality options from Carpet Weavers. Find out more online at carpetweaversflooring.com.
If you're looking for a pre-owned car, truck, or van, look no further than Sarah Champagne. You know them for their 5 incredible vehicle brands, the BMW, Honda, Subaru, Buick, and GMC. But did you know they also have over 100 used cars, trucks, and vans in stock right now? And at Sarah Champagne, they will take care of you. You can trust them. And prices begin at under $2,000. Stop by Sarah Champagne. They're at Burwash and Savoy, or go online, sarahchampagne.com. That's Sarah, SERRA, Champagne.com.
Hi, this is Chris Jackson with Kramer Siding and Window. And whatever your project, you can count on Kramer Siding to offer you the best products backed by the best warranties in the business, as well as Central Illinois employees dedicated to providing you with professional installation and a lifetime of great customer service. And right now, you can save 10% on roofing, sunrooms, and decks, get 15% off gutter helmet, and you can save 25% on preservation siding, windows, and doors. So call today or visit us at kramersiding.com and let's get started on your project.
Want to work at a golf course? Rodham's Golf Management is looking for you. Just come to the U of I Golf Course Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1 to apply and have an in-person interview. Or Iron Horse Golf Course, February 8th from 4 to 7. Who wouldn't want to work at a golf course? Again, Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1, U of I Orange and Blue in Savoy. Or Wednesday, February 8th from 4 to 7 at Iron Horse Tuscola. For details, call Mike Wallner or email Mike at mwallner@uofigolf.com.
There is one name you need to know in car repair in the Central Illinois area, and that's John Marshall.
John is the owner of PDR Automotive in Urbana and makes it his mission to know that your car will start when you come to pick it up. John strives for a repair in the most efficient time possible and is the right person to take care of your car. From tires to engine to electrical to the simple oil change. Trust in John at PDR. 1008 North Cunningham in Urbana. John's team will take care of you like family.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The day after the president and the House Speaker had an Oval Office meeting.
The debt ceiling needs to be lifted without conditions. And so we still stand by that.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre also pressing Republicans again to get specific about spending cuts.
I'm very clear. We will not pass a clean debt ceiling here without some form of spending reform. So there'll never be a clean one.
Though House Speaker Kevin McCarthy also says he thinks he and the president can find common ground. Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar has kicked off the House Foreign Affairs Committee over past statements about Israel, 9/11, and the U.S. military.
This type of poisonous, toxic, double standard is going to complicate the relationship moving forward.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says it's political revenge over Republicans being kicked off committees in the last Congress. Speaker McCarthy denies that and notes Omar is still allowed to serve on other committees. Lawyers for the president's son, Hunter Biden, asked the Justice Department to investigate Trump allies for spreading personal information from his laptop.
Hunter's attorney sent letters to state and federal prosecutors requesting they investigate the computer repair shop owner who passed along data from Hunter's laptop and Rudy Giuliani, former President Trump's attorney. They wrote, quote, there is considerable reason to believe they violated various Delaware laws in accessing, copying, manipulating, and or disseminating Mr. Biden's personal computer data.
Fox's Rich Edson. In a follow-up statement, though, a lawyer says the letters do not confirm it was Hunter's laptop, instead only addressing the conduct of disseminating what's alleged to be his personal information, the lawyer says, wherever they claim to have gotten it. The FBI may soon search former Vice President Pence's Indiana home. The Wall Street Journal reporting his legal team's contact with federal officials after the recent discovery of classified documents there. America is listening to Fox News.
My friend had his home stolen. The crime is home title theft. It's real. It's horrendous, but it's real, and it's everywhere. Now, luckily, this was just a demo, but I saw how criminals all around the world target American homeowners, and that's why I protect my home with Home Title Lock, and you need to as well. And a thief can simply forge your signature on a legal document claiming you sold your home to them. Homeowners insurance and common identity theft programs do not protect you, but Home Title Lock does. So protect yourself. Just go to their website. It's HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N. Verify your home's title is still safely in your name. Then just register your address for a free, no obligation home title report for your files. That is a $100 value, absolutely free. That's HometitleLock.com/Sean, HometitleLock.com/Sean, S-E-A-N.
A man accused of being a close associate of 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed becomes the first detainee transferred out of Guantanamo Bay in the Biden administration.
Majid Khan has been detained at the prison on Cuba for the last 16 years after pleading guilty to charges including conspiracy and supporting a terror group, as well as murder and attempted murder in violation of the law of war. He had roles in a 2003 hotel bombing in Indonesia that killed 11. He also agreed to be part of a plot to kill Pakistan's president shortly after 9/11.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Khan sent to Belize for resettlement, says he feels reborn. Iowa-based food giant Conagra recalling more than 2.5 million pounds of canned meat and poultry products over a packaging defect that could let in contamination.
Canned brands like Armour, Vienna sausage, and potted meat, Vienna chicken sausage, also Kroger, Goya, Prairie Belt, and a couple other labels. All the affected cans are marked with P4247, packed in December of 22 and January of 23. No confirmed reports of adverse effects, but people are advised to throw them out or bring them back to the store. Therese Crowley, Fox News.
Tributes planned during an award show this weekend.
The Grammys will salute two icons in the industry that died last year, Loretta Lynn and Fleetwood Mac's Christine McVie. The 65th annual Grammy Awards are hosted by Trevor Noah. Casey Musgraves will perform Lynn's Coal Miner's Daughter. Musgraves has long been vocal about her love for Lynn, who died at the age of 90 in October, while Sheryl Crow joins Mick Fleetwood and Bonnie Raitt for McVie's beloved Songbird off the band's mega album Rumors. McVie died in November at the age of 79.
Fox's Michelle Polino. The rapper Takeoff will also be remembered. He was a bystander killed in a shooting outside a party in Houston last year. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Florida, Champaign-Urbana this Saturday. A real roller coaster ride of temperatures expected for the next couple of days. Pattern shift into milder Pacific winds for next week and beyond. And at some point mid to late next week, it is a definite wetter trend across our neck of the woods. In the meantime, wind chill advisories up to the north of us. That winter storm, that ice storm, continues again for another day. Memphis down to Dallas-Fort Worth and southeast from there. Around here, a milder afternoon, partly sunny, highs around 40, southwest to west winds, colder tonight and sharply colder with a stiff north wind 5 above. Wind chills well below 0 tomorrow morning, much colder, sunny skies at 18. For the weekend, a bit wind blown, highs up near 38 on Saturday, a Sunday high 46 degrees, 47 on Monday. A little bit of light rain back in here for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, but look at these temperatures, none too far off the 50-degree mark. Overnight readings mild, mid-30s to lower 40s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over! I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielema.
You no longer. Yeah, salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Schmack Dogs.
Thunderstruck! Yeah,
Thunderstruck! All right, so there's a tweet out there with Chase Brown at the Senior Bowl absolutely demolishing Riley Moss from Iowa. Take that, Iowa. I love
on
that.
Behalf of the Orange Crush?
I think that's what Chase is saying. Then they've got another one of him blocking against Cam Jones. Who's Cam Jones? He's, I guess, a good defender, I assume. But, yeah, pretty cool stuff. So Chase Brown out there doing his thing at the Senior Bowl. All right, it is the good evening, The Drive with Tay and Piper. I'm Lonte. Derek Piper here as well for the next half hour. Then you're going to sneak out. You'll be in Iowa City tomorrow, so you're going to you'll join us, I guess, via the phone tomorrow. We'll Kyle and I'll kind of get you ready for that. I just ate a peanut, and I just wasn't prepared to start talking. So my apologies. The professional's back. All right, so we were going through. We talked a lot about the crush in the first hour. I wanted to read. Kyle, our intern, did send us a text about that, and so this is from a Crush member. Kyle is a Crush member, and he said, from what I understand, well, of course, when you start with that, that's never good, right? The Crush have been using false names to buy road trip tickets every year so they can invade other arenas secretly, right? We knew that, since other teams won't sell tickets to opposing student sections directly. I did not know that. Then he said there wasn't any ill intent on their part by posing as the Boys and Girls Club, and they didn't get any special discount for doing it like Iowa is claiming. It was just to go undetected. So there's a few things that are, on both sides. I think what you pointed out is the Crush came out pretty strong, right, with their statement. Mm-hmm. And then Iowa kind of fired back saying, well, okay, you're using a charitable organization called the Boys and Girls Club, so that doesn't look that great. And it doesn't. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
Yeah, I know that part of some of the Iowa narrative, and not necessarily directly from Iowa, but some that cover the team kind of poked at the Orange Crush that they were getting a discount because of who they were posing as. But I believe it, like Kyle was saying, I think that someone looked it up. I can't remember who was posting it on Twitter, but I think within the group ticketing, if you hit a certain number of tickets, then they will provide that discount. So they weren't getting that because they were the Boys and Girls Club. But it just was kind of maybe you shouldn't have come out and done the whole statement. But I know someone else waited on the text line. I think some people are going to take care of the Orange Crush.
Yeah.
Those that were going to go. I imagine someone will ultimately pick up the tab from the charter buses that they won't get refunded.
Would agree.
And they'll get some good support from people around here.
There's some cool places to watch games in Iowa City. Just take the bus over. Road trip. I mean, just go over there and still do it. You know, I think that'd be awesome. Just hang around Carver Hawkeye about an hour before the game and just scare Iowa fans into thinking, man, there's a lot of Illinois fans here. And then go to a bar and watch
storm the gate.
Storm the gate. That's yeah. No, don't take our advice. Yeah, don't take our advice on that. Jay on the U of I Illini Link text line says, so Chase Brown plays in the Senior Bowl, but not in the bowl game. Wow. Well, these are just kind of practices here at the Senior Bowl that I'm talking about. So I don't know that he'll actually play in the game, but I assume he will since he's there.
I'm guessing he will.
And, you know, at the Senior Bowl, you have probably every scout from every team in the National Football League there. So I'd say there's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But I get where he's going.
But not to say there weren't NFL scouts at the bowl game.
You're right.
Or having their eyes on the bowl. I understand where he's coming from.
All right, when we talked about these Big Ten teams, we just mentioned Illinois. For giggles, what does Lunardi have Illinois as a seed? I'm talking basketball.
They are a 5 seed currently.
Really? So I know it doesn't matter, but who does he have them playing?
Liberty.
Okay. And then what would be after that?
The winner of TCU, who's projected 4 seed, and Utah Valley State. And then in that same region, which is the West region, where the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 would be played in Las Vegas, please. I'd gladly go back to Las Vegas.
Piper. Now watch, they'll have another cold front.
Oh, gosh. Houston is the number 1 seed. Ooh. So if you were to make the Sweet 16, in all likelihood, you would play Houston.
Okay. Well, that's not a bad, again, like TCU, since I don't know anything about them, and they're not like North Carolina. Did you see North Carolina lost a Pitt?
Yep.
Last night. Not that it ruined a parlay or anything. I just happened to notice that. But, that seems like a pretty good draw. But, again, that'll change 500 times between now and the actual seedings. All right, so we went through Illinois. So the other 4 teams, let's go with Rutgers. What do they have Rutgers currently?
Let's look up Rutgers. I know their net ranking is pretty darn good, although currently they're a 6 seed in Lunardi's projection.
Okay. I know that they're playing. They'd be one of those teams I'd be like, because they'll just muck it up and make it just an ugly game. So in your mind, as we continue our homework here, or I don't know what you'd call it, if everything went right for Rutgers, do they have enough offense to actually win 2 games in the NCAA tournament?
I think it's a very fair question. Now, they had enough to go on the road and beat Purdue. They won a low-scoring game. It's not like they put up 80 or put up 78 to be able to beat them. It was a 65-64 type of rock fight that they were able to win. Now, they're one of the top defensive units out there. With Morey inside, he can score. We know that Mulcahy's had some games where he can score 15 to 20 points. McConnell's not a high-scoring guy. Cam Spencer, a 3-point shooter, the transfer, has provided some nice spark from beyond the arc to help them.
Ooh, I think that rhymed, and you didn't even know it. Spark beyond the arc.
Ah, yeah.
That was good. Sorry.
I lucked into that. So can Rutgers offensively luck into a second weekend trip? Yeah, I think they could.
Okay. I like that.
I do hate the fact that I'm landing on Sweet 16 with almost every one of these teams.
I understand. But I gave you an impossible task of just saying if everything went right. I mean, I guess you could say if everything went right, Illinois would win a national title. But we're trying to, within boundaries.
Within reason, yeah.
Within reason. That's the right way to say that.
I think that Rutgers is one of those teams that's going to finish. Currently, they're tied with Illinois for second in the league. They're going to have a pretty decent seed. They're going to finish pretty darn well in the Big Ten unless they slide here down the stretch. But I think their ceiling is lower than some of these other teams, but their floor is higher.
Got it. That's fair. Could one argue that Steve Peichel is the best coach in the Big Ten?
Yes.
I mean, he has done some remarkable things.
They're about to make the tournament 3 straight times for the first time since like the 60s.
Wow.
I think, if I'm correct there.
Yeah, he's done an incredible job. And he's one of those guys that, here's my system. You're going to play defense. And if you're not, then you probably don't need to be at Rutgers. So, although last year, Ron Harper could play some D. Who was the other dude?
Geo Baker.
Yeah, Geo Baker. All right, so that's Rutgers. We've
Michigan
got Purdue,
State.
Michigan State.
You want to do Michigan State?
Let's do Michigan State.
They're a 7 seed currently projected.
They're so boring this year.
Yeah.
Like they lost Malik Hall, and they're just kind of boring. Joey Hauser's their best player. And he's just kind of boring. So, I don't know. Michigan State has had so much explosive firepower in the last 20 years, for certain teams. And then this year, you're just like,
Hall is at least back now, but they're still a team that they're 6-5 in the league. They just got hammered over the weekend by Purdue.
Yeah, they're just blah.
They are. I agree with you.
I think they lose first round. That's how I'd approach Michigan State. Like, best case scenario, they win a game.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I just don't see anything out of them that really tells me that unless Hall gets healthy, I mean, he's good. So
it might be a little unfair for me not to give them kind of that same Sweet 16 best case scenario, but
yeah.
I think that their lack of depth, the fact of they've been really getting exploited inside. Now
yes.
They've had 2 huge games given up against Edey and Trace Jackson Davis, which you understand those are 2 of the best big guys in the country.
No doubt.
Even Dane got them for 20. So not going to the portal and getting a big guy,
yeah,
it's kind of hurting you.
That's kind of what Tom Izzo didn't want to do. So, all right, we finished with Purdue. Best case national title? Have they been to a Final Four ever?
They haven't been since pre-Gene Katie.
Okay.
But they have been to one.
They have been to one. Is best case scenario Final Four?
I think if you're saying best case scenario, it's national title.
Okay. Did we say that last year about Illinois? Or 2 years?
Early on.
Yeah.
Early in the year, probably.
That's true.
As it played out and Curbelo wasn't healthy, and we started to learn more and more about the team, that we probably didn't have that type of ceiling. We still thought maybe Final Four.
Yeah. Did you see Curbelo pick up a T last night for slamming his glasses?
I did. He got ejected for the second time this season.
Oh, my gosh. I want to root for him. I mean, I want that kid to succeed. I like him. He seems like a great kid, but, man, he's got some, I don't know, he's got a temper.
He does. He does.
He has a temper.
You just wonder with Purdue, like, again, if Edey gets doubled, can they make enough threes around him consistently? Can you win a national title or go to a Final Four when you're relying so heavily on freshman guards?
Yep, I was going to say inexperienced guards. I mean, they're a sophomore by the time the season ends. I always love that. But they've played well. I mean, I just don't think the Big Ten is that good, but I don't know that there's conferences that are that good.
Outside of the Big 12.
The Big 12
is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, other than that.
The ACC's down.
Yep.
Because Duke isn't as good as they were projected originally. North Carolina, obviously not.
Lost to Pitt.
Virginia, they're a good team, but they're not great.
I mean, is Florida State, are they going to be like in the Sweet 16 again? Or like they always do, it seems like, except last
Fortunately,
year.
It won't be a Syracuse year because we've seen those. Like Syracuse, the 12 seed in the East.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, they're in the Elite Eight?
Yeah, exactly. No, it does. It seems like, I mean, again, like you pointed out, the Big 12, there was a texter pointed that out a few days ago. Yeah, the Big 12 is awesome and fun to watch.
Kansas State, Texas, Baylor.
How is Kansas State so good?
TCU is pretty good.
What does Lunardi have Kansas State? Like a 2?
It's probably a good guess.
I assume Purdue's a 1.
Purdue's a 1.
Yeah. So you'd have Purdue, or maybe Kansas State's a 1?
Your 1s currently are Purdue, Alabama, Houston, and Tennessee.
Okay. Boy, Tennessee's having a good year.
There's 2 from the SEC.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Alabama, but
maybe we're not giving the SEC
their depth isn't as good because Kentucky's not as good as people thought.
That is funny, though.
Arkansas's got injuries.
Is Kentucky going to even make the tournament?
I'm curious to see if they're in here.
Can you imagine Kentucky and Michigan both out of the tournament?
On the last four teams in the field, according to Lenardi, Pitt, Penn State, Kentucky, Oklahoma.
Oh. But no Michigan.
No Michigan.
Michigan.
I don't think it's particularly close.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm with you on that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, come back with a little Brett Bielema. We'll do it next. It is The Drive.
Big Bad Night, Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
What do you mean I get the whole store?
I'm Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. And when we promise you the whole store, we mean all we do is appliances. We offer a showroom full of the top appliance brands, complete with our free 10-year protection plan.
Who does your warranty work? Some outfit with a 1-800 number?
No way. Our service and installation technicians are employed and factory trained by us. And our protection plan means you pay nothing for covered repairs.
So, I get a free 10-year protection plan, a guaranteed best deal, a hometown service department, and a showroom full of name brand appliances? Wow!
Hey lady, that's my line. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Big Bad Night, Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Illini fans, your place to pregame is Pia's, with great drink specials and food before Illinois hits the basketball court at the State Farm Center. Take the free Illini shuttle, leaving 30 minutes before each home game. Get there early to ensure your seat because Pia's free Illini shuttle only makes one run. Stay in good spirits with your plastic cup on the bus on the way to the game. It's Pia's, 1609 West Springfield Avenue in Champaign. Go Illini!
Now, the NIL jersey lineup for your Fighting Illini. Number 55, Sky Clark. Number 15, R.J. Melendez. Number 10, Luke Goody. Number 20, Ty Rogers. Number 0, Terrence Shannon Jr. And number 33, Coleman Hawkins. Get yours at State Farm Center on game day, online or in stores. Game Day Spirit, official fan store of the Fighting Illini.
Buy the AC and get the furnace for free. You heard that right. For a limited time, when you buy a qualifying AC system from Matex, the furnace costs you nothing. There has never been a better time to upgrade your comfort with Matex, the most trusted service provider in Central Illinois for over 25 years. We don't know how much longer we can offer this, so don't miss out on our best deal ever. Call or visit GetTheFurnaceFree.com today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Matex, feel the difference.
PDR Automotive in Urbana is a locally owned repair shop, and they've now serviced over 250,000 vehicles in their near 50-year history. Now, that's more than 4 times the size of a sold-out Memorial Stadium. It's more than all Division I athletes in the country combined. That's more than the entire population of Champaign County. That's more than, well, you get the idea. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Get ready for the 7th annual Champaign County Area Restaurant Week. This 9-day celebration features our diverse and award-winning culinary scene with Filipino, Indian, Cambodian, Thai, Mexican, Caribbean, Italian, Zambian, vegetarian, vegan, soul food, farm-to-table, and standard American fare. You'll be able to find a restaurant, share your experience, and dine in or take out. It's Restaurant Week, January 27th through February 4th. For details, go to visitchampaigncounty.org.
Hey, where are you headed?
To Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola.
What do they have there?
What don't they have there? Living room furniture, benches, chests, love seats, sectionals, tables, bedroom sets, hutches, nightstands, end tables, cabinets, mirrors, stools, clocks, lamps, pillows, rugs, desks, media consoles, patio furniture, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and more.
So, everything.
Yeah, probably could have just said that.
Kelsey Furniture, quality for less.
PDR Automotive in Urbana has been providing quality auto repair service for almost 50 years. Trusted by AAA Motor Club, PDR employs ASE certified technicians that use the latest in diagnostic equipment. They offer nationwide warranties and are even authorized to perform vehicle maintenance that won't void your factory warranty. Check them out 24/7 online at pdrauto.com. When you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Here's what new customers are saying about Interstate Batteries.
It's nice to see capable and helpful associates. They did a top-notch job.
They were easy to talk to and explained everything.
Service was prompt and I was a walk-in. Total service time was only like 20 minutes. I highly recommend Interstate Batteries.
Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. How much is dependable worth? Experience them for the first time at 2504 North Mattis. Way out there, but worth the drive. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
Visit InterstateBatteries.com.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Max Kellerman. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Yeah, Piper just got fired. If you don't believe me, see if he chimes in the rest of the show, and you'll know that I'm not lying. Derek Piper's been fired. No, I'm kidding. He hasn't. He hasn't, but he did sneak out. He's on his way to, not right now to Iowa City, but will be tomorrow. Illinois and Iowa, of course, Saturday. That'll be a fun one. 1:30 from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Let's go. If you get that win, that would be big. I don't know that I feel great about that one, but do we ever feel great when we go to Carver Hawkeye Arena? You just never know what's going to happen there. So Illinois and Iowa will be a fun one on Saturday. Jonah Wilson is going to join me here in a little bit. We're going to talk a little Missouri Valley and Big Ten basketball. The Missouri Valley, the standings are crazy. SIU is tied for first with 3 other teams. They're all 9-4. So we will try to kind of get to the bottom of that and kind of figure out who's going to win that Valley. I'll talk to Jonah about that. We can also talk some Big Ten basketball as well. Brett Bielema met with the media yesterday. Had a lot of interesting things to say, including a question that was asked about new recruit Malik Elzy. Of course, that went down to the wire. Illinois ends up winning after he had committed to Cincinnati, decommitted, and then Illinois was his only visit, and boom, he ends up coming to Illinois, which was huge for this Illini program, getting a wide receiver, I believe about 6'3", and strong, big kid. So he's asked about Malik Elzy, number one, and then also asked about Luke Altmyer and John Paddock, the 2 quarterbacks that have transferred in. Here is your football coach, Brett Bielema.
The thing I love about Malik, and I know he would appreciate that question, right? But one of the most humble, grounded, loves to compete. Like one of the things that talking to their coaches the first time I went in there is how much he loved to compete, right? And that was definitely apparent when you started to begin to recruit him. The ground level base that I'm talking about, just how grounded he is. His mom and dad are incredibly great people that have raised a kid that is very thankful for the opportunities. He's always talking about giving back to his family, his community. You go into his home on that Sunday when he finally made it official and told me he was coming. His youth coach was there, right? His whole family and his youth coach, right? Just when you have something like that, that speaks volumes about who he is.
2 quarterbacks you got out of the portal. What excited you about Luke Altmyer, and then the opportunity to bring in a guy like John as a veteran, previous starter?
Well, I think both of them, in case they both have played college football, right? So obviously Luke at Ole Miss and John and Mac, and when I popped on the film, you could see the ball come out of their hands, right? So if you're going to sign a quarterback, you better be able to throw, right? And
yes,
they've checked the box there, right? So. I'm the worst evaluator at that. It seemed like every quarterback I ever liked, they didn't like, and every quarterback coach liked, I didn't like, except for Russell Wilson. That one's pretty unanimous. But I think about it last year when I saw Tommy. I saw the ball come out of Tommy's hands, and I'm like, okay, I checked the box there, right? Here we go. And then you got around him, right? And it was a little bit different process, but the first person, I only knew one person at Ole Miss, right? Well, I know Lane, but I didn't want to call Lane, but because he actually, something unique to Luke, he played in the bowl game, right? Like, he was in the portal and played because he didn't want to let his teammates down. Didn't have to do anything with him. Like, he could have easily walked out, right? He wanted to play for his teammates because he was one play away from being in the game, which happened the year before, right? And I remember when him and his parents came here and said they wanted to come, they're like, hey, he still wants to play in a bowl game. I'm like, go play. And, I'm not going to deter that, right? Like, I'd love to see you in there. I don't want to wish ill will on somebody else, but if you get in, it means somebody else got hurt probably, right? And it just speaks volumes about Luke, but I remembered I called a contact who's in a support staff role, and I said, hey, tell me a little bit about Luke Altmyer, and he started laughing, and I'm like, what? He goes, he was the captain, or he was the coach of my son's Little League youth baseball team, right? And I know his son. Like, I've been around him. It's a guy that I've worked with in the past. And he said he single-handedly might be the greatest kid on our football team, right? And that just said volumes to me. John Paddock is obviously the grandson of John Wright. So, he's not here because of that, but usually, I believe DNA is strong, right? Like I see things in my two daughters that I know I had a hand in. So I think that DNA is big, and John's family, the success they've had here, the immediate feeling you get when you talk to him, he's got great leadership skills and talent. And then obviously our freshman too, Cal has been a guy that's jumped out from day one. Every time I called one of the wide receivers, I called Casey Washington on a Blind Random Wednesday. I was like, what do you think? He's like, Coach, I'm at lunch with him right now at Chick-fil-A, right? Like, I mean, he's automatically building those relationships and moving forward. So
that's big. That is Brett Bielema talking about not only Malik Elzy, but also his quarterbacks that he has brought in, Luke Altmyer and John Paddock. Now, he was asked about the new coaching hires. Thad Ward, who, of course, Liddyville, right? The guy that has been at Illinois before. Thad Ward hired, and then Charlie Bolin coming in as well. He was with the Arizona Cardinals linebacker coach. Brett Bielema touched on both of them.
Been able to add a couple new coaches to the staff. Thad Ward, a lot of you guys already knew Thad from his prior experience of being here. I actually found out, I actually knew Thad before I ever came here through just the coaching profession. And then a lot of guys on our staff talked to me about who he was, what he represented, why he's here. Intrigued me at the time, but obviously I filled my staff up. So to get that here back with us has been absolutely awesome, just overly impressive the last 2 days, who he is, what he is. During the interview process, myself, Coach Lonnie, Coach McDonald, just very, very excited to add him in the running back room. And then obviously Charlie Bolin, a guy that several of my guys on staff knew. I'd known Charlie a little bit through the profession. I'd been down to visit with the Dolphins when he was there. Jay Kaiser was with him at Miami. Obviously, a couple of players that I coached at Arizona, I reached out to when this opportunity came for an outside line. Literally the day that I sat down with their outside linebackers when there was transition, I told them I wanted to bring someone in with pass rush value. I really think our guys are some guys that could potentially make a big jump in that area. And I told them I intended to bring someone with great pass rush value and someone that could help their skill set grow. Obviously, when you lose good coaches, to replace them with even better coaches is a goal. And I'm excited because I think Charlie brings some things that nobody else in this room has had. He's worked with some of the most elite pass rushers in the NFL. Two of those guys I talked to verbatim said, obviously very incredible coach, but an incredible motivator, great teacher in the classroom. So really excited to add them. And then also,
there you go. And then you also went on to visit about Ben Miller, of course, and what is happening with him, that he will be kind of serving almost as an administrative role as he still battles, and obviously he will have his handprint on this Illini football team. So Brett Bielema, again, met with the media yesterday. One of the things he talked about was signing day. I thought this was interesting. Of course, now it seems like we have, or not seems, we do have 2 signing days. So thought an interesting response from Brett.
My coaches, the head coaches, we got a recruiting survey the NCAA wanted us. They're asking us for all kinds of advice right now, right, about everything. And 2 things that I think that need to be addressed, as you guys follow us, you know that really by the end of June, we usually have a pretty good contingent of who we're going to sign, right? It may not be, somewhere, I would say somewhere to 80 to 90% is what I would expect to be the norm. We're always going to add a couple extra, but we're very diligent in our evaluations where we are. We don't really lose a lot of players. We've lost a player or two maybe the last 2 years, maybe by our choice, might be by their choice. But one of the things that's been evident is this new rule to have 85 scholarships available at any time has really kind of opened the door to basically sign a player earlier than ever before. So we'd actually talked together earlier to staff. We put forth a proposal that would allow us to sign prospects in July because really August is a dead period. You can't really do much with them as it stands. So by the end of July, kind of the kids that know where they want to go. Caden Fagan, from the time he committed to the time we are today, he wanted to come here, right? I was worried to death in this world that we're in with NILs and everything else, but I knew the type of person I was dealing with, so I was never, but there are guys that I worry about that with, right? So I think to move the signing date, but I would also reserve the right, I would like to have all 3. I would like to have the July, I'd like to have December, because I think December is more of a natural time for everybody, because in July, like I'm pretty steady right where I'm at right now in our career, and obviously just signed a contract that takes care of that conversation for a long time, but not just head coaches, but a lot of times assistant coaches transition, right? So we learned that this year more than anybody, right? So I think to have a December signing period, after the wave of the end of the season where you know who the staff is and what they are, right? That makes sense. And then this January one, obviously February, for Mac, right? Like Mac and Matt Bailey the last 2 years, right? Like just very excited what they bring to the table and where it's at. I think it is heavily affected. One of the things the portal world I think we wish we could have is the ability to instantly sign a portal player. They have no signing date, literally. So the reason I couldn't talk about, right, but Brett brought to my attention, I know you guys had a chance to interview him, right? I haven't been able to talk. You obviously asked me about the quarterbacks, but Altmaier, our tight end, Arkin, Harper, McClure, Paddock, and then we also added a guy by the name of Denzel Daxon the last week or two. I couldn't talk about them because they've never signed anything. And even though they told me they were coming, they may release it, but I can never physically say something about them because I'd be commenting on a prospect that isn't engaged with us legally, right? So obviously I made reference to a player that committed to us in December, right? But I couldn't get him on campus before someone else was able to get him out from underneath us. So like it would avoid situations like that. And you know, I think it's one of those things that the world of college football is evolving through the signing day, NIL, the portal world, and all that goes into it.
Intentionally small was the recruiting circle around Mac, even in your staff and in this building. Did you not want everybody involved in the sense that we could lose him?
Yeah, even within our building. Yeah, I think a year ago I learned something when I offered a kid who had no offers, sat on my couch, and 14 days later he had over 30 offers, right? I know what we can do, right? But you know, we just for the first time went 8-5. Like I'm not very excited about it, right? Like I'm excited because we went to a bowl game and what we're able to do, but that's not where I want to be, right? Like, but people are paying attention to what we're doing, right? And the thing that upsets me, listen, I'm the biggest NIL fan there is, right? But I think the part that really jumps out is, like, I pride the way that we work, the way that we do our business. For your point, like whether it's keeping the circle small or making the circle big, to talk to Malik Elzy every day, that didn't happen by chance, right? That was a direction. I knew when I was talking, I knew when Gio was talking, I knew when J-Mo was talking, I knew when the staff were talking, the graphics, the direction of Pat Emmleton. What I get upset about is, right, the NIL world is incredible. We got a couple really good players that could have left us for the NFL, and the big part of why they're staying is they want to take their draft status from maybe being a fourth-round pick to a second or first-round pick, and the money you can make there. But also, the NIL world allows us to do some things for them that's never been done before. So it's a great – it's incredibly – I couldn't be a bigger NIL fan. What I hate about NIL is before a player gets somewhere and he's getting money that has never been earned, right? Like, I get it. Once you're here and you're doing things, you get it. But and then, you know, to have people think that's great recruiting more than just they got a bigger check to write, right? That's the part that gets frustrating. And I think that's the part the NCAA is trying to get a hold of.
There you go. That's some good stuff from Brett Bielema yesterday as he met with the media and went over some of the issues right now, as he mentioned there with the NIL, also signing day, the fact that he likes as many as you can give him. And then, of course, talking about the new coaches and the new players, and Malik Elzy, Luke Altmaier, and John Paddock. On the U of I Illini Lake text line, a 217 said, how many years of eligibility does Altmaier have left? I believe it's 3. I believe he comes in as a sophomore, so I think you have 3 there. Brad texted in about Purdue. Purdue won it all in 1932. We were talking about the Boilermakers earlier, and if they'd been to a Final Four, they won it all in 32. They went to a Final Four in 1969 and 1980. Rick Mount, wow, was he good, in 69, and then Joe Barry Carroll, also really good, led him there in 1980. They did not go with the big dog, Glenn Robinson. Randy said when you watch Big 12 and SEC, they have 5 6'8" guys that are athletes who rebound and play defense. Yes, so obviously that SEC is good as well. One other one we had mentioned about Chase Brown at the Senior Bowl, a 217 said, FYI, the Senior Bowl is run by NFL coaches. It's considered an audition for the NFL. So certainly that makes a big difference as to why Chase Brown didn't play in the bowl game for Illinois and did there, but you can think of that as you wish. When we return, Jonah Wilson to talk some basketball. We're going to focus in on the Missouri Valley, talk a little Big Ten as well. We'll do it next. It is The Drive.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance. Get a quote at 217-356-2400.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
Want to work at a golf course? Rodham's Golf Management is looking for you. Just come to the U of I Golf Course Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1 to apply and have an in-person interview. Or Iron Horse Golf Course, February 8th from 4 to 7. Who wouldn't want to work at a golf course? Again, Saturday, February 4th, 9 to 1, U of I Orange and Blue in Savoy. Or Wednesday, February 8th from 4 to 7 at Iron Horse, Tuscola. For details, call Mike Wallner or email Mike at mwallner@uofigolf.com.
Hi, we're your Prairie Gardens plant experts. Let's talk about winter houseplant care.
Two things you'll want to do is water less and stop fertilizing because houseplants go dormant in the winter or really slow down. And you'll also want to hold off on doing any repotting until March or so.
It's also a good idea to move your houseplants to where they may get a bit more sun.
Just make sure to keep them away from drafts and vents when you do move them. Come to Prairie Gardens. We are here to answer all your plant questions.
Buy the AC and get the furnace for free. You heard that right. For a limited time, when you buy a qualifying AC system from Matex, the furnace costs you nothing. There has never been a better time to upgrade your comfort with Matex, the most trusted service provider in Central Illinois for over 25 years. We don't know how much longer we can offer this, so don't miss out on our best deal ever. Call or visit getthefurnacefree.com today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Matex. Feel the difference.
Busey Bank, leading the way to your financial wellness. No matter where your financial journey begins, Pathways banking options at Busey are designed with your goals in mind. Busey Bank, building strong financial futures, one family, one street, one city at a time. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection, amazing prices, and second-to-none delivery service. They're a third-generation local business, and they've always got your best interests at heart. Find the look you love for less. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, but always available online at kelseyfurniture.com. That's kelseyfurniture.com.
By now, you've all heard the expression, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 for PDR Automotive. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. But who are they? They, the PDR staff, understand that a name is only as good as the people that represent it. The PDR staff has more than 335 years of combined automotive experience, several employees now on staff for more than 25 years. PDR, more than just a name. Family owned and operated, now celebrating over 50 years in business.
Lands Heating and Cooling here today to talk to you about your furnace or air conditioner. With these cold temps outside right now, we wanted you to know we've got dozens of furnaces and air conditioners ready in our warehouse. Call us today and Kurt or Michael will come out to your home free of charge, measure your home, and we can help you decide what system fits your house and your budget. Our team of skilled installation techs can come out and get your furnace working so that heat is on and working perfectly for you. Lands Heating and Cooling. Why call anyone else?
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. The Drive with Tay and Piper. Lante, Derek Piper had to sneak out. He just couldn't handle all the incredible Missouri Valley Conference basketball conversation that's about ready to happen. We'll also talk a little Big Ten. My guest, he's a basketball fanatic, Jonah Wilson. He's going to be at the Illinois-Iowa game this Saturday. So, Jonah, your ticket was not canceled by Iowa, I take it?
Not yet, no. So I'm hoping the orange doesn't scare them away.
Yeah, well, if they're listening, and who knows, they may be listening to the show, so you may be in trouble. So, but they don't know I'm actually using a different name. Jonah Wilson's actually not your name. So no, I'm kidding. It is. All right, my friend. Well, listen, we'll talk a little Big Ten, but I want to get your thoughts on this Missouri Valley Conference. SIU, Drake, Belmont, and Bradley, all 9-4. Bradley beat Southern last night and of course Murray State beat Belmont. You got those teams at 9-4. Then you have Murray State, Missouri State, Indiana State, and Northern Iowa at 8-5. So you're talking 8 teams there that are either tied for first or one game out. What is going on in that valley? It's crazy.
I mean, it's just utter bedlam. I personally think there's 6-7 teams that can go into St. Louis, win 3 or maybe 4 games in 4 days, because with the new tournament format this year, only the top 4 teams get double byes. So you have a team like Southern Illinois, who's lost the last 2 against Illinois State,
right.
And then last night, Bradley.
Oh, Bradley, yeah.
Got my mind for a second, but there's no one dominant team so far this year, but there's a lot of really, really good teams, and I didn't think that Jeff Jackson envisioned the parity in this league increasing so quickly when he added Murray State, Belmont, and UIC. But this year, Arch Madness Friday will probably be one of the best that we've had in a long, long time. And last night was just a sneak peek. I mean, Belmont lost at the buzzer to Murray State, and then SIU and Bradley played a rock fight that reminds you of the Jim Molinari, Rich Herring days.
Yes.
And then 2 other overtime games, Illinois State, UIC, and then Valpo, Missouri State, but then Northern Iowa and Drake, the game of the night. Bowen Bourne hits 2 buzzer beaters, and Drake ultimately escapes on their home turf. But that's just a preview, I think, of what this March will look like. And I think 6 or 7 teams out of that top 8 that you talked about can definitely win 3 or 4 games and maybe sneak a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament, because you got to go on the road to play. And in Little Egypt, you got to go to Murray, Kentucky. You got to go to Bradley.
Yes.
Those are tough places to play, and I think it prepares the league really, really well for the NCAA tournament. I think that's why they've had so much success in the past decade or so.
Yeah, without a doubt, the Valley teams have certainly not, they've shown up in the NCAA tournament. And it is so funny, though, to look at these standings and just see, hash mark with the top 4 being in first, and then 1, 1, 1, 1. The next ones. In your mind, Jonah, you've watched more Valley ball than I have. Who do you think is the best team in the Missouri Valley, or is that just too hard to say?
I like Drake right now. I think they're really coming to their own, and I think the big reason is the emergence of Darnell Brody ever since their game against Mississippi State, where they upset the Bulldogs in Lincoln. Brody has just been a different player, and I think this is the guy that Darren DeVries envisioned when he got him out of the transfer portal from Seton Hall. They played Belmont last weekend and beat him like a drum without Tucker DeVries. So if that's any indication, I think Drake and Bradley, if they play the final game of the regular season in Peoria, I think there's a good possibility that could decide the Missouri Valley Conference regular season title.
Illinois State 5-8. Talk a little bit about the Redbirds. It's obviously Ryan Pedon's got a little bit of an uphill climb there. What have you seen out of them? Do you like kind of what the future holds for that squad?
I like the future for sure. I think they play into the parity quite a bit. They beat Southern Illinois at home and Belmont, 2 of the top teams in the conference. And I'm really excited with what Coach Pedon can do there. They've got a really good recruiting class coming in. Ty Pence, who's at St. Joseph Ogden High School, highest recruit that they've had since Osiris Eldridge, who is a pretty good player himself. A couple other good players that Pedon recruited. So they'll still have their growing pains, I think, here next year. But as he continues to build this thing, they've shown glimpses, especially those 2 wins against Belmont and Southern Illinois. But I really like the job that he's doing. And he's got him going in the right direction here in year 1.
You mentioned Drake, 18-6 overall. The Salukis, 17-7. And, of course, Brian Mullen's squad lives and dies with their defense, but certainly with guys like Marcus Damas going for 30-plus against the Redbirds, Lance Jones, obviously someone that can score at a high rate. Does Southern have what it takes, you think, to be able to, if their offense isn't clicking, I mean, obviously their defense is what they hang kind of their hat on, but I would assume they're one of those teams that you really like in terms of being able to win this conference tournament in St. Louis.
I think the defense will carry them extremely far. The one concern I have for them is a third scorer outside of Damask and Jones. I think that's the difference in the game last night. I think Damask was neutralized pretty well by the length and athleticism of Malvi Leon and Jay Sean Henry, and that's ultimately been the difference, and that's kind of what we talked about earlier in the year, finding that third scorer next to Marcus Damask and Lance Jones. So if they can establish that here in the coming weeks, depth also is a little bit of a struggle and a concern for me as well, but you never know, and especially if Southern continues to par the course, there'll be a lot of Saluki fans that end up in St. Louis, and that'll be a big advantage for sure.
Absolutely. I haven't been down to Arch Madness in so long, and I kind of put it on my radar, but it's hard when you have kids playing sports, and it's just hard to make stuff happen like that sometimes, but I am going to definitely try to get down there. Explain a little bit about the format again. So now you'll have, the top 4 teams you say will get a double bye, is that right?
Yeah, so the top 4 teams will get a double bye Friday, and then the other 8 teams will play on Thursday. So Thursday's not quite what it once was and means the same. So getting that top 4, especially right now where we got 8 teams within a game of first place, it's exciting times here.
Here's the magical question. Will more than one team from the Valley make the NCAA tournament in your mind?
I don't think so. I think Drake had a couple opportunities that slipped. They lost to SLU. They lost at Richmond big. I think if they would have won those 2 games and maybe dropped 3 or 4 conference games, they would have had a chance then at large. But I think, unfortunately, there'll only be one team. But I think there's definitely more than one team that can win a game in the NCAA tournament. I mean, we saw Southern Illinois go to Oklahoma State and win. We saw Drake beat Mississippi State, who was number 15 at the time. So I think 5, 6, maybe 7 teams can win at least a game in the NCAA tournament.
Fair enough. It's just really hard to get there because obviously they just don't throw Valley teams in very often. Let's switch to the Big Ten. This is an Illinois team. We'll start with them that started 0-3, and now they've worked their way up to number 2 in the conference. Of course, there's a lot of parity there in this conference as well. What do you think of Illinois? What have you seen from your eyes on the Illini squad?
Well, first off, I love the switch when Brad Underwood went from the casual look to the suit coat. I think that turned the fortunes around. I'm not too superstitious, as you can tell, but I really think it's the emergence of Jaden Epps at the point. I think he's coming to his own, and he really struggled there at the beginning of the season, but I like how he's come on. He's been a steadying presence ever since the departure of Sky Clark. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from that, and more consistency as well from Terrence Shannon. So those have been the two catalysts for this resurgence, if you will, going from 0-3 to now 7-4 in the conference.
And Matthew Meyer obviously is a guy, like Brad Underwood said, man, there's times during practice that it's scary how good he is and how much he can take over not only a practice but games. He has that experience, as you know, from winning a title at Baylor, being in a lot of NCAA tournament games. I still think back to that game, Baylor and Carolina. I think that was last year. That was such a fun, high-level game that they played. So when you see a guy like Matthew Meyer and know that the experience he has in terms of winning games in the NCAA tournament, and, of course, Terrence Shannon as well, how big do you think that experience will play in March?
It's huge. I mean, he won a national title there. He really plays well in the big games. I mean, we saw Texas, and he absolutely had the game of his life there at MSG. But I think he's been a steadying presence. He's been more consistent on the offensive end, especially behind the three-point line. And I think him and Shannon playing in the Big 12 and playing meaningful games, and I think the leadership, too, from Matthew Meyer will pay dividends for this relatively young Illini team going into March.
Amen. And then you look at Purdue, what they've done. Do you buy Purdue as a team on the national level? I don't know why we wouldn't.
Yeah, this team reminds me shades of that 2019 team that had Edwards and Klein and Matt Harms. They just Painter plays to his personnel really, really well.
Right.
Smith, Braden Smith, and Fletcher Lawyer can both really stick it. And then Zach Edey you can probably mark him down as the Wooden Award winner right now. I think they're legit. The one thing that concerns me is the guard play. They're young, and experienced guard play is what wins in March. But I think Painter has plugged all the right pieces in. I mean, we saw their versatility last night. I think Mason Gillis hit 9 threes against Penn State last night. So I think that's extremely telling, and they can get a bunch of production from him or Caleb First. But, yeah, I think Purdue is in position to compete for a national title this year.
Without a doubt. We'll close here with Jonah Wilson. How about on a national level, just all around, not just Big Ten or Valley? What are a couple of teams that you really would hang your hat on come March that they're going to do some big things?
I know they dropped a couple games the last week or so, but Houston,
yes.
I think they've got an experienced backcourt in Jamal Shedd and Marcus Sasser. Kelvin Sampson prides himself on defense, and I think they've got the horses to score, put the ball in the basket, and play exceptional defense. I think they're top 5 in KenPom in defensive efficiency. And then also out west, UCLA. I like Tiger Campbell still there, and Jaime Jaquez played in the Final Four 2 years ago as well, and they've got a lot of experience on that team as well. And Mick Cronin has done really well just meshing him and as well as their 2 fantastic freshmen, and Amari Bailey and Adem Bona. So I like UCLA or Arizona out there. So I'll give you those 3 teams right now that I think could cut down the nets in Houston.
Well done, Jonah Wilson. I always appreciate your time, my friend. We'll have to get you on again before that Missouri Valley tournament and kind of get a lowdown on what it looks like once we have a better idea of where everybody's going to be seated and who's going to be playing who. So we'll mark out on the calendar down the road here in March when that rolls around. Jonah, always appreciate your time, buddy. Love your expertise, my friend.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. That is Jonah Wilson. His father works with Pekin Insurance, and I got to know Jonah through him. And Jonah is one of those that is very, very skilled at this profession, and he knows his stuff when it comes to basketball. So always fun to catch up with that. And I'm loving talking some Valley. Had a 217 say SIU. Those 2 losses hurt, but this is fun, hard-playing team. I got to watch him beat a ranked Wichita State team and play a close top 10 Creighton team that had Doug McDermott, not dumb. I believe Wichita State had Van Vliet on that team, and they did. That's exactly correct. All right, that is it. Good stuff today. Tomorrow, Kyle, the intern, and I will talk to Derek Piper on the road on his way to Iowa City. So plenty to do tomorrow. We'll probably hear from Brad Underwood as well and get ready for those Hawkeyes. You guys have a great night. We'll see you then. It is The Drive.
Buy the AC and get the furnace for free. You heard that right. For a limited time, when you buy a qualifying AC system from Matex, the furnace costs you nothing. There has never been a better time to upgrade your comfort with Matex, the most trusted service provider in Central Illinois for over 25 years. We don't know how much longer we can offer this, so don't miss out on our best deal ever. Call or visit getthefurnacefree.com today to schedule your free in-home consultation. Matex. Feel the difference.
Carl works every day to improve the health of community members across the region, and it would not be possible without team members like Dwayne Linton, a nationally certified nurse in the emergency department at Carl Foundation Hospital.
I work with a team of people who really care about what they do and are very flexible and adaptive in rapidly changing critical situations, and I would trust any of them at any time.
If you're looking for an opportunity to serve your community like Dwayne in a supportive environment, visit carl.org/careers.
Carpet Weavers is flooring their customers. They work with the biggest brands to bring you the best selections and prices on hardwood, luxury tile, carpet, and more. Stop in at 616 West Market View Drive in Champaign and let one of their sales associates help you find the perfect flooring for your lifestyle. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee allows you to be confident in your purchase. Carpet Weavers has been flooring people with beautiful carpet and flooring since 1988. In fact, they're nationally ranked as one of the top 25 specialty flooring stores in the country. Find out more online at carpetweaversflooring.com.
Have you been to Pards in Urbana? Well, you need to go to Pards in Urbana. Here's what people are saying. Great customer service, friendly staff. They treat you like family. I love Pards. I was very impressed. Great service. Very neat store. I was greeted and asked if they could help me. That's why you should go. Check them out. It's Pards in Urbana. They're between University and Maine. It's on Maple. Pards in Urbana, or visit pards.com. Pards.com.
The Unity Music Boosters present Alla Acapella on Friday, February 10th with $15 tickets available while supplies last.
The money raised helps Unit 7 music programs.
The Alla Acapella show is Friday, February 10th at 7 p.m., located at Unity High School, 1127 County Road 800 North in Tolono.
The raffle baskets to win have great experiences in restaurants plus spiritware for your favorite teams. Learn more as you visit unitymusicboosters.org to get your tickets today.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck duck goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for